Tell me how I was driving, and in the midst of rush hour traffic, like, my mind was just flooded with thoughts of dating in this generation. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, like, I got a little scared. I had to pull over. Like, I had to pull over. I'm telling y'all. And that filled my mind with the question of, is dating in today's generation cooked? Now, please take what I'm about to say with the biggest grain of salt, considering that I do live in the U.S. and I live in Florida, of all places. So, keep that in mind. But this video is basically just going to be like a conglomeration of all the things that I've noticed and all the things that, I've come to be aware of in today's generation when it comes to dating and just pursuing someone in general. So, let me know if you guys have any different opinions. Let me know if you have any comments or anything to say or anything to add. Yeah. So when it comes to the things that we value today in our generation, like, one of the big things that I've seen is instant gratification. Like, it's everywhere. Have things like Amazon next day delivery and 6-minute videos that ruin our attention spans. So, obviously we're used to getting things when we want them right away, right? There's this kind of sense of, okay, if I don't get it right away, or if I don't get it within this time frame, this quick time frame, then I'm leaving. And it's human nature to think and feel that way, but there's also value in kind of delaying gratification, right? And delaying, the access and the ease of which you receive things, As people, the quicker we get things, the less we value them. The more it takes us to get those things and acquire those things, the more value and the more meaning we have in them, right? It's long-term effects of gratification. Like, if you constantly expose yourself to getting things, quick and with ease and without working hard for them, it results in a decrease in attention span, poor decision making, debt, things like obesity, right? Gluttony. Also, just it increases the risk for engaging in risky behavior overall. I don't know about y'all, but I love me a good shortcut. But there's a cost to taking shortcuts. There's power in knowing when to take a shortcut and when to take the long way. I feel like you kind of relinquish some of your power if you're always wanting things quickly, you relinquish your power, and you also, kind of get accustomed to getting things quickly. So when things don't go your way, you get impatient. I know all about impatience. Trust me on that. And there's also like this idea of, that there's always a better option out there, right? Like, we see it in dating sites, on Hinge, on Tinder, on Bumble, whatever else is out there, plenty of fish, I don't know, whatever else dating sites are out there. This idea that the grass may be greener on the other side, kind of is the driving force and the motivation to always seek a better option. And that's cool. But thinking that there's so many fishes in the sea, in reality, there ain't that many fishes. There's also that I've noticed, like, not just in dating in today's generation, but just in general, but specifically in dating, there's this lack of being able to be vulnerable, right? Being able to be in a state of vulnerability. And I get it, vulnerability is scary. Like, who wants to, share the intimate emotional parts about themselves, with someone who could very well betray you at the end of the day. It's very scary out here. Very scary. It's important to remember that there's power in vulnerability. Like, there's power in being able to bare yourself and be vulnerable. Of course, like, within reason, right? Like, you're not just going to bare yourself to someone who's not reciprocating the same thing. In that case, it becomes more parasitic, right? It's important that we're not only vulnerable with each other, but also communicate and take the time to understand each other and our ways of communicating. I already know for a fact, women and men, the way that we communicate, it's like we speak two different languages. Like French and Portuguese, like two different languages. I think in communication we're able to gain that better understanding of one another and where each other is coming from. We don't have to understand where each other is coming from 100%, but we're able to gain an understanding of, you know, how we communicate our feelings, how we communicate our emotions, you know, just basic level stuff that I feel like today's generation has kind of lost in translation, you know, like we've lost the ability to communicate and actually express compassion and understanding and empathy, whatever that means. And in dating, something that doesn't get talked about a lot, or at least in my opinion, is like the intangibles, right? Like the things you can't really see or measure, the things that aren't physical. It's like difficult to describe, like just that energy that you get from another person. This includes vibes, chemistry, compatibility. There's no solid formula, but when you're talking to a person or getting to know a person or courting a person, right, there's all these things that come into play, right? Things that you can't necessarily describe. Or my chemistry with this person is completely different from the chemistry I have with this person, right? But there's no way to really articulate that or put that into words, right? So where do we go from there? And don't get me started on this whole situationship thing. Like, I feel like the term situationship has kind of been born out of this confusion around relationships and how to define it. You know, as humans, we're always looking to put a label on things, right? And I get it. But the term situationship is one of the, if not the most stupid term to come out of this generation, I will say, like, because what does it mean for real, right? Like, even the word situationship is confusing in itself, right? Because what is a situation? Why are we in a situation? Like, say you're going through about life, right? And someone comes up to you and says, we have a situation. Or you're at work. Imagine you're at work and someone comes up to you, we have a situation. What do you think that means? That sounds like a problem to me. That sounds like something that needs to be fixed and rectified to me. Sounds like a problem that needs to be fixed. And it gives way for people to make their intentions unclear. Kind of confuse you on purpose. Play mind games. I don't know about y'all, but I have never learned to play chess. Maybe I'll learn one day. Not today though, but yeah. Like, if we're looking for replacements, me personally, I love the term lover, you know. We're exploring each other, you know. Even entanglement I might take. Situationship, shit just sound ugly. Like shit just sounds ugly. Like it's not giving. So in conclusion, what did we learn? It's a hard knock life for lovers like us, for romantics like us. The biggest lessons to take away, I would say, number one, live outside the generation. Like, just because what's normal in the generation is the norm or the standard doesn't mean you have to abide by it. Be the change that you want to see in the generation. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Don't lose hope. I know it's hard, y'all. I know it's hard, but don't lose hope. Don't be scared. For me, lose fear. It's hard to trust someone if you've been through heartbreak, especially multiple times, right? But I think it's important to remember that there's power in vulnerability. Something you may be going through might be something the next person is going through, right? And they need that guidance, or they kind of need that to make them feel less alone. So there's power and there's connection in being vulnerable. Exercise caution, but not isolation, right? So what I mean by that is be cautious about who you give your energy and time to, right? Don't just give, and then when they don't reciprocate, be disappointed or, you know, feel like,
well, no, fuck it then. I'm just die alone.
It's easy to fall into that trap of thinking, but, you know, like, where does that get you? Don't isolate yourself. Like, it's easy to push everyone away and say, oh, fuck this, fuck that, but at the end of the day, like, we need each other. Y'all, we are all one. We are all from the universe. You take away your opportunities for what could be beautiful experiences. So, to answer my earlier question, is dating in today's generation cooked? Not completely. Not completely. So, have hope, stay safe, and be blessed.